Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. My presentation is titled Cardiorespiratory Response to Acute Exercise. This topic explores how our cardiovascular and respiratory systems adapt to the immediate demands of exercise. Understanding these physiological responses is essential for improving performance, designing exercise programs, and even recognizing potential health risks. Today, we're going to focus on three key objectives. First, we'll understand how the cardiovascular system responds to exercise, including changes in heart rate, cardiac output, and blood flow. Next, we'll look at how the respiratory system adapts to meet increased oxygen demand, including ventilation and gas exchange. And finally, we'll discuss how these two systems work together to maintain performance and homeostasis during exercise. This foundation will help us understand the remarkable adaptability of our bodies under stress. Cardiorespiratory responses to acute exercise. Acute exercise triggers rapid adjustments in our cardiovascular and respiratory systems to meet increased metabolic demands. Understanding these responses helps explain how the body maintains performance and homeostasis during physical activity. When we start exercising, our cardiovascular system responds immediately to meet the oxygen and nutrient demands of working muscles. Our heart rate increases to pump blood faster. Stroke volume is the amount of blood pumped per beat, also rises due to the heart contracting more forcefully. And together, these increase our cardiac output, or the total volume of blood pumped per minute. Finally, blood flow is redistributed to prioritize oxygen delivery to muscles, reducing blood supply to less active organs like the digestive system. These adjustments ensure that our muscles get what they need to keep going. So let's look at the mechanisms behind heart rate and stroke volume. First, when you start exercising, your sympathetic nervous system is activated. This releases adrenaline, which stimulates the SA node, or the natural pacemaker of the heart. The SA node increases heart rate, so more blood is pumped per minute. At the same time, stroke volume increases through two mechanisms. The Frank-Starling mechanism is when you exercise, more blood returns to the heart, stretching the heart muscle. This stretch results in stronger contraction and more blood being ejected per beat. Contractility is the sympathetic stimulation makes the heart contract more forcefully, boosting stroke volume even further. Together, these changes significantly increase cardiac output, which is important for delivering oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. Now let's look at cardiac output. Cardiac output, or CO, is the product of heart rate and stroke volume, expressed as cardiac output equals heart rate times stroke volume. At rest, most people have a cardiac output of about 5 liters per minute. As exercise intensity increases, cardiac output rises, reaching up to 20 or 30 liters per minute in elite athletes. This is important because it ensures that oxygen-rich blood is efficiently delivered to working muscles. As you can see in the graph, as treadmill speed increases, cardiac output also increases. Another critical cardiovascular adaptation is redistribution of blood flow. At rest, only about 20% of blood goes to your muscles, while your digestive organs and kidneys receive a bigger part. During exercise, this completely changes, and up to 80 to 85% of blood flow is redirected to working muscles, while flow to areas like the digestive system is reduced to as little as 3 to 5%. This redistribution happens through a process called vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Blood vessels in the muscles dilate, increasing blood flow, while vessels in non-essential areas constrict. On the slide, you can see the pie chart that's comparing the blood distribution between rest and then when you're exercising. As cardiac output increases, so does blood pressure. So during exercise, systolic blood pressure, which is the top number, rises in proportion to intensity. This is because the heart is pumping harder to deliver blood to the muscles. Well, the diastolic blood pressure, the bottom number, usually stays about the same or decreases slightly due to vasodilation in the working muscles. So during moderate activity, systolic pressure may rise from 120 to 150 or 180, and it can exceed to 200 during intense exercise in trained individuals. However, a significant rise in diastolic pressure could indicate a cardiovascular issue, so it's important to monitor your blood pressure during certain types of exercise. Now we're going to look at the respiratory system. So during exercise, your breathing becomes faster and deeper to meet the increased oxygen demand. There are 3 key processes that happen. Increased ventilation. This is the amount of air moved in and out of the lungs per minute. There's a higher oxygen uptake. Muscles extract more oxygen from the blood. Enhanced gas exchange. The lungs work more efficiently to expel CO2 and absorb O2. These changes make sure that your muscles receive enough oxygen while waste products like CO2 are quickly removed. Ventilation during exercise. Ventilation, or VE for short, increases dramatically during exercise. When we're resting, we typically breathe about 6 to 8 liters of air per minute. And during moderate exercise, this number rises to about 50 or 60 liters per minute. And during very intense exercise, it can reach 100 to 150 liters per minute. The reason this happens is tidal volume, the amount of air per breath, which increases from about 0.5 liters to 2.5 liters. Our breathing frequency, which is the number of breaths per minute, rises from about 12 to 40 or 50. And finally, at higher intensities, we reach the ventilatory thresholds. VT1 is the point where ventilation starts to increase faster than oxygen demand, and VT2 marks the transition to anaerobic metabolism, where CO2 production drives rapid breathing. The graph here shows how ventilation increases with exercise intensity. Oxygen transport and uptake. Oxygen transport is crucial during exercise. Hemoglobin in red blood cells binds oxygen in the lungs and delivers it to the muscles. A key concept here is the oxygen dissociation curve. During exercise, the curve shifts to the right, a phenomenon called the Bohr effect. This means hemoglobin releases oxygen more readily due to increased CO2, acidity, and temperature in the muscles. At the same time, muscles extract more oxygen, leading to a greater VO2 difference. The difference in oxygen content between arteries and veins. At rest, this is a difference of about 4 to 5 milliliters O2 per 100 milliliters of blood. But during exercise, it can reach 15 milliliters O2 or higher. This adaptation makes sure your muscles get the oxygen they need while you're exercising. The lungs also play a crucial role in maintaining gas exchange during exercise. Alveolar ventilation increases to match the body's oxygen demand and CO2 production. CO2 removal drives most of the increase in ventilation at high intensities as the body tries to prevent acidosis. The diagram here shows oxygen being absorbed into the blood and CO2 being expelled. This process is highly effective and efficient and adapts in real time to metabolic demands. The cardiovascular and respiratory systems work in harmony during exercise. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood to the muscles, and the lungs ensure that oxygen is constantly replenished and CO2 is expelled. Feedback systems like chemoreceptors monitor oxygen and CO2 levels, while baroreceptors regulate blood pressure. The integration makes sure that the body meets the demands of exercise without compromising homeostasis. Understanding these responses has practical implications. Improving cardiorespiratory fitness through exercise can increase your VO2 max, enhance endurance performance, and reduce your risk of chronic disease like heart disease and hypertension. So, whether you're an athlete or someone looking to improve your health, these adaptations highlight the incredible potential of the human body. So, to summarize, the cardiorespiratory response to acute exercise demonstrates how adaptable and efficient the human body is under physical stress. The cardiovascular system increases cardiac output and redistributes blood flow to working muscles, while the respiratory system enhances ventilation and oxygen delivery. Together, these two systems ensure that your muscles receive the oxygen and nutrients they need while efficiently removing waste like CO2. Understanding how these processes work not only help us optimize athletic performance, but it also informs and designs of effective exercise programs for health and fitness. So whether you're training for a race or simply working out to improve your overall health, these adaptations are working behind the scenes to support your efforts. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope this presentation has helped you understand the cardiorespiratory response to exercise. Thank you.